Noticed you had a visitor.
Visitor?
Don't get yourself worked up, Charlie. I know who Matthew Grady is. I need to know why he's here.
Ethan, he's just over here giving me a little courtesy call, and while I was here, he just happened to mention the fact he's a Texas Ranger.
I'm in a hurry, Charlie.
Ethan, all I know is he's down here on official business. That's all I know.
Are you here for me? Take me back to Texas.
Ethan, I can't talk about that.
And don't.
Ethan, all I know is he's down here to take you back to Texas to stand trial. And he told me he'd try to take you back alive. That's the truth.
He asked you for your help?
Told me he wanted me to stay out of it.
That's smart advice, Charlie.
The museum began as a teaching collection of Dr. Thomas Dent Mutter. He was professor of surgery at Jefferson Medical College from 1841 to 1856. And so it started as his accumulation of material to teach his course in pathological anatomy. The purpose of a medical museum is to train physicians to be able to take better care of the living. And in order to do that, they have to study the bodies of the dead. This stuff was not intended for the general public. It was always kept behind doors for the profession only. This stuff is verboten, it's taboo. The conjoined twins, the microcephalics, the giants, the dwarves. We can medicalize it. We demythologize it. The sideshow used the medical profession to legitimize itself. They gain greater status and credibility. If doctors are interested, certainly it's okay for you to be. The case of Robert Wadlow, who's the tallest man who ever lived, 8'11.1. He was very careful that his skeleton would never end up in a medical museum. And so he was buried in Alton, Illinois, under a truckload of cement. Which is a pity. All that information is lost. It's an enormous gift that they give by allowing their bodies to be studied for the benefit of the living. The original Siamese twins, born in Bangkok in 1811. It's the same year that Dr. Mutter was born, so it almost seems fate that their destinies should become intertwined. The most remarkable thing isn't this superficial connecting band of skin and cartilage. It's the fact that they were able to live as normal farmers. They went through the Civil War, they owned slaves, they married sisters, and eventually raised 21 children. Doctors were called in to this brothel where this white dwarf, Mary Ashbury, had found refuge, and she became pregnant. So when they found her, she was in labor. The baby's head was normal, and her pelvis wasn't, so it became stuck. The doctors did what was called for at that time. They tried to break up the baby's head, puncture it so that it could be compressed and actually removed vaginally. They were not successful in completely collapsing the head, and they had to go to cesarean section belatedly. Not surprisingly, the mother died of peritonitis 3 days later. It was a very typical but a very sad story. The museum is full of stories of people. Some of the names I know, some I don't, but they're all, human beings, or parts thereof. People just seem fascinated by the fact that you can take a face and a head and just slice it up like that and display portions. People talk about being grossed out, appalled, revulsed by what they see. Whatever emotional reaction you have, that's good. If you come in and you're totally clinical about everything you see, you're not getting the full impact of the Mutter Museum. It's humans looking at humans. You see people with these horrible lesions on their faces, and you start thinking about the fact that they had to wake up every morning for years with a face that they knew was repellent to other people. I'm looking at the specimens with somebody else's eyes. All of a sudden, something that I'd been ignoring becomes beautiful because somebody thought it was beautiful enough to shoot.